first session of the afternoon, and we have two talks in this session. The first one is the introductory talk by Mr. Laser. The second one is the real calculus work application by Daejeon. So I give the microphone to the Laser.
Thank you very much. I'm only going to speak briefly, then Shashank will give the main presentations. What I'd like to do is introduce what we call application models. So as we look at different applications for fluidization, we have created a number of models that are freely available for people to learn about, and then for the user community to download and work themselves. So I want to first talk about what is an application model. So application models are sample cases that can be downloaded, and we'll show this, we'll demonstrate it. They can be run, and they can be customized by the user community. So they're available on our website. If you go to resources, there's a section called application models, and I think we checked, there's maybe 11 of them now, and we continue to regularly add every 2 months or so a new application model to the list. And so I want to briefly discuss, what's the purpose of these application models and how they fit with other things. So first of all, these don't replace publications, they don't replace case studies. They augment them. So a publication typically shows, somebody can do the case. So there's a paper written that says, yes, this can be modeled, and here's a case where I model something. That's usually what you find in a publication. Then you have and this is just my terminology, so this is not rigorous research, but what I call case study. So case study is what I briefly presented this morning. It's typically what an industrial customer has done to solve a problem. So case studies show that others have modeled the application. So it's not just it can be done, but others have done it, and they usually show some good success because otherwise people don't publish. And then the application model is intended to bridge that gap between others have done it to you can do it too. What we found over years of this is that there's a big gap between maybe us as CPFD software knowing how to model something, or a longtime user knowing to model a specific case, and then disseminating that information out to others. And so with application models, these are useful for perhaps right after new user training, where you want to use the software, but you don't really know where to go next. For somebody to have something specific to do during a software trial or a demonstration. And really the cool thing is they're a starting point for building your own system. So Shashank is going to show a number of application models. And in some of those, there could be combustion kinetics or gasification kinetics or whatever the case is, and we'll go through a number of those today. And as you go to build your own model that may involve combustion, you can import the materials, the reactions, the rates from the starting point to your own model. And you might want to modify it later, but it really bridges that gap in getting started. So what does an application model include? Here's a brief snapshot from our website. It's going to be a lot of data, so bear with me as we scroll through. It'll always start with an overview and introduction to the case. Then there's a description of the model. What is the geometry? What are the inlets? What are the outlets? How are the materials defined? And I'm going quick because you'll see those. What are the reactions? What are the rates? Where did those come from? Then there's some discussion and results. So typically this is from a publication, so we show that. We'll show some videos of the particle phase, maybe different reactions, showing temperatures or composition and so forth. Then the gas phase, the various compositions of the gases. And this is an example from a cement calciner. Temperatures, so this is going through post-processing. And then there's a model download section where a user can download the model themselves. We go through how it's been set up. And I know this is quick, but we're going to go through these in a lot of detail. and then how to do that post-processing, how you yourself can make those videos, and then references. Where did this come from? Because we're not making these up. These are usually taken from the literature. So I just wanted to start with that brief introduction. So we're going to now speak about, Shashank, I'll have you come up here. We're going to speak about the many different cases. There's a few that we're going into detail here in this presentation. And in all cases, there's an application model behind it that Shashank will demonstrate. So I just wanted to give a quick overview of what those are. So with that, I don't know if you need this, I'll put that here. And I'll turn it over to you.
I have a suggestion, so I'm sorry to pick that from. I think it is good for you, like, it is good to collect the case type from the user. If there is some way to give directly to cut, they can take everything.
No,
We have a plan to give that kind of instance.
that's a really great question. So for those that didn't hear, right now we're making these based on things in the literature. But there's a pretty big user community in Korea, especially academic usage. And so the question is, can we make application models based on cases? I think probably a customer might, a commercial customer might not be able to do this, but certainly the academic researchers to have their work be the basis for an application model or even form model itself. And that's a great idea. We hadn't thought about that a whole lot, but absolutely, that could be a way to grow this, because what we want to do is, there's a lot of things that have been done and a lot more that can be done. And I think, especially in a meeting like this, people are seeing, well, what else is there with fluidization? What else is there with modeling? And how can the community come together, not on the proprietary stuff. You know, I wouldn't expect commercial companies necessarily to share their proprietary advantage, but on the academic research, I think that's a great idea. So please speak with KW Tech and the team. If you have, it's a little early because you'll see what these are in a minute, but if you have something that may form the basis of an application model, let's please have that conversation. I think that's a great idea.